So in a situation where there was an unplanned, unexpected problem, an opportunity was born. So I have used the illustration of the cybertruck where there is something unexpected, maybe catastrophic, but within it lies an opportunity.
You have wondered what you would be able to do if you were the ultimate version of you, right? You would then have an easy time creating what you want, and yes, effortlessly enjoying life too. Now, you may know this already, the influence you have over your reality is far beyond what you've been told. Soon, you realize that your outer world is merely a mirror of your inner world, and we're here to connect the dots for you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to God Mode.
What would you do if you knew the exact moment that you were going to die? Now, if you actually take the time to do that exercise or not, that's not the point. That is the point of a very powerful hook. And hooks are how you grab people's attention to begin to tell stories. And stories are how we grab everyone's attention. Everyone loves to watch that nice Netflix with a commercial break, yeah? Well, Netflix doesn't have commercial breaks, but you get what I mean. Today, we're going to talk about stories and how they're super powerful, not only just for the internal and also for the external, how they are around us at all times. And then decision points, choices that we do can spawn different stories, can spawn generations of stories. And today, of course, I'm joined with my good friend Brady Edwards, who, if you haven't known what Brady's done in the past, if this is your first time coming to this episode, Brady worked for Mr. Beast for 2 years as the creative director. So what is Mr. Beast well known for? Around millions and millions of people around the world, maybe even billions of people at this point, telling stories. So Brady has a very powerful skill and masterful skill of knowing how to grab people's attention. And that's why his company, Biggest, is going to be so powerful, and we're going to talk about that today. What's up, dude?
What's up, dude? Good to see you.
Me too.
I feel like I have to tell like a really cool story right now. I actually have a pretty cool story we can lead off with. No, it was amazing. So I just had my birthday, and my incredible girlfriend knows that I love all things Tesla. I think Elon's awesome. I have a Tesla, and so I've got 4 years now that I've been waiting for the Cybertruck. Let's hurry that up. Elon, what's happening there?
It looks so dope in your hand.
You feel like you open the door, it honks.
That's so sweet.
It's incredible. And the Cybertruck, so this is bulletproof, not this right here, but the idea. The Cybertruck is meant to be bulletproof. So that was one of the big selling points when they first announced that you got this absurd, futuristic, bulletproof truck that Tesla's going to roll out. It's going to change the world. And so they did this Apple kind of reveal, like this debut day on stage. They had tons of people in the audience, and there it is. They roll in the Cybertruck, and it's sitting there, and they're like, oh my gosh, even the windows are bulletproof, not just the doors. I'm like, yeah, we're going to demonstrate it. So they get this heavy lead ball, and the idea is to just chuck it at the window and just have it dink, bounce right off, right? Well, they threw it, and it did not bounce right off. It impacted into the window, and it didn't completely shatter it, but it messed it up pretty dang good.
Damn.
And so they're sitting there on stage. All the cameras are rolling. Everybody's watching, and they're sitting there going, oh no, was this planned or was it not? What do we do? It became a meme. You know, everybody was like, oh, well, the window broke? Wow. They said it was bulletproof. So it was all over Twitter. And it ended up leaning into it, Tesla did, and make shirts out of it. The shirt sold out. And really what happened was the share price dropped a little bit for Tesla after it occurred, because they're like, oh, they announced this car, and the car isn't already what they're saying it's going to be, this bulletproof thing. When the share price dipped, though, Tesla immediately started buying back a ton of their own stock. So in a situation where there was an unplanned, unexpected problem, an opportunity was born. So I have used the illustration of the Cybertruck where there is something unexpected, maybe catastrophic, but within it lies an opportunity. And so that's the power of being able to grab somebody's attention with a story, paint a visual, walk them to the end of it, and the conclusion at the end is find opportunity in everything. It's how we as a species communicate, is with stories. And so whether it's a story about the Cybertruck and something clever that the company there did, or it's a story about someone's product, someone's impact in that they want to affect humanity with, whatever it may be, we communicate best through stories. Like we feel something very different. So this art form of, I've got to give a person information, what's the most interesting and effective way I can do it? Well, I can delineate all these facts and bullets and details about it, or I can guide you through a narrative and color it and add all kinds of feeling. And even if you don't get all of the points, the intended message gets received like slightly better. Think about this last episode that we had with Calvin, where he talked about how if he's locked in with somebody, they are energetically involved with him. You know, like you and I, we can talk because we'll sit there locked in, energetically involved. And it's very different from talking to someone that feels like you're talking to drywall. Yeah. You're like, that person doesn't care. You know, they're not giving me anything. Yep. So it's not, so I can't do a lot with them. But if there are two energetically involved people, there's so much information that can get passed back and forth. And really the best way to do that is with a good story. And a good storyteller knows that.
Yeah, we like to think we've evolved, and we have, right, as a species, but we're very caveman primitive in that still, like, we love to sit around the campfire and tell stories type thing.
Absolutely.
I think what has evolved, though, are the tactics and the skill sets of telling the story and capturing people's attention. Is very, oh, you got 3 to 5 seconds world. And that's something that you taught me when we were telling, we were writing, Facebook posts, or we're just doing things for Upgrade in general. It's like, Michael, you got like 3 to 5 seconds in this hook right now. Like, we got to capture that. I'm like, okay, so my thinking has to shift, right? It has to evolve. I know that we have some amazing stories, you and I, over the past couple of years of traveling around the world together and just, seeing people evolve and transform through our trainings here at Upgrade, right?
Right.
I think that's the history, and what I love about William has created in this community of Upgrade is that he wants to help people change their generational ancestral programming stories that are unconscious. And why I believe Upgrade's story is still powerful now is that we're evolving and we're getting better with feedback from clients over the time. So every training that William has done and that we've done with him to this point, we've downloaded successful stories, and we've also downloaded negative connotation stories. And then we were like, okay, how do we optimize them? How do we modify them? So that's what we're doing on the mental programming side. We want help individuals and then collectively tell stories better for themselves. Right. Because we all have this massive amount of potentiality in us. Right. And it's not like I'm going to just unlock it for you. It has to emerge. So a powerful story, I believe, comes from emergence. That's what I've come to study and know, is that, especially on the Upgrade side, we want to teach people how to emerge the story from them. I want to hear about the emergence of biggest and how the story has come so far. If you would, this is a first-time listener, viewer watching this, what's the story of Brady Edwards coming to biggest, and how that has emerged to this point, and why and how you're going to serve so many people?
So, like you'd mentioned at the beginning, YouTube is everything right now. And if that's not clear to anyone that's listening to this right now, some of the numbers that are on the daily dealt with on YouTube servers, they would blow your mind. So maybe for listeners that are a little bit older, have you heard of MASH, the show?
Yeah.
Like one of the most...
My dad used to watch it all the time.
It's freaking hilarious. Yeah. It's in Vietnam. It's like old timey. And the season finale, it was one of the longest running shows. The season finale of MASH gained 109 million views. It broke every record in the book. People couldn't believe the response at the ending, the finale of MASH. A whole generation saw it. Several generations saw it. The Mr. Beast channel does north of 100 million views every week.
Yep.
Which is really crazy to understand proportionally what that's illustrating. Yep. But it's more views than the Super Bowl every week. And there's now a community of people, and it's north of 1 billion people, where they get 5 minutes, phones out, they're on YouTube. And there's a lot of generations that can't comprehend that yet, because entertainment like that was reserved for the end of the day. When you sit down and you got your dinner, you're turning on the news or watching a show or whatever. Yeah. Well, now you can have it all day. So YouTube has turned into this titan of an industry. Billions of dollars in creator payouts. YouTube is something that is not going away. It has become so prevalent in current culture, especially, internet fueled culture. And the ones that perform the best on YouTube are the ones that tell the best stories. They are the most interesting. They gave the most thought to the viewer. And so I learned how to think in the shoes of the viewer while I was at Beast. And that was important to do, because people think that they make sense when they're talking to somebody else. I know you're one of my best friends. I can say basically anything and I know that you're going to understand it. There's also something that I have to do though, and it's I have to communicate clearly with you. Mm-hmm. And even if I didn't do that well, you would still likely get the gist of it. But if it's a complete stranger and they have no idea what I'm saying, I have appeared at their door, their internet door, I've knocked, I got open, they opened the door to me, and now it's like, okay, you have 2 seconds maybe. What's your pitch? How do you grab someone's attention there? And this is the thing that most of our listeners now are entrepreneurs. They have businesses. This is the same thing they confront. How do I get somebody to want to buy my products? Oh, I'll make a video and then I'll put it online. And they think, oh, you know, that video, we put 20, 30 grand into the production. It's going to be awesome. Right about 30 seconds, that's really when the hook starts to come in and they're just kind of interested the whole time. No shot. No one's making it to 30 seconds now. No shot. Why? Because they have so many other videos to watch.
Yeah.
There are billions of videos being uploaded every single day. In fact, I think it's 80% was the last time I heard it. The number may have shifted. But with smartphones in the world, 80% of smartphones now internationally are Android. It's not iPhone. Everyone thinks, oh, iPhone took over the world. And that's true, but their profit margins are insane. They actually don't have as much market penetration as Android does. Android is Google.
Yep.
Google owns YouTube. 80% of the phones in the world are coming pre-installed with YouTube. Yeah, it's insane. And so when you learn, okay, so if this is essentially a multi-vector point, all the points seem to point to YouTube. Okay, so this is the thing. Well, how do you get ahead in it? What are the secrets to really gathering people's attention? How do you make a video make sense? And so these are the things that I learned in my time there working at YouTube, with Beast, long hours, 7 days a week, 16-hour days, setting up one video, tearing another one down, chaos. But the real magic was understanding that moment-by-moment experience of the cold viewer. And so I started really understanding that in an intuitive way because this was our job full-time while we're burying somebody alive in a bulletproof coffin under 30 tons of dirt, and we're leaving him in there for 50 hours. It's a real video, 250 million.
I would have loved to have been in the room when you guys came up with that concept. So this is what we're going to do.
You're going to be underground. Victor David Blaine, but it's you. You're a magician, not a magician. We're walking a full marathon in size 40 shoes that didn't exist, by the way. We had to have them custom made. And then, let's just go run a marathon. So the absurdity and the moments that we would capture people's attention with the most wild, fantastical, visions of things that no one had ever done, right? So in the process of doing all of that, you get calibrated to understand the attention span of humans. You can't help it because that's what we became masters at. And so after an incredible time with some of my favorite people on the planet, I was ready to see what was out there next for me. And so I won a house in one of the videos. They were giving houses away for $1 each. And 2 days prior to us filming that video, I got lucky enough to get on a call with Will. And he was like, well, hey, let me just ask you really quick. You're out there, you guys are making billions of views worth of videos. What do you want? What do you want in life? And I hadn't really given that much consideration at all. Cause I hadn't slept. And so I was like, dude, I just want a nap. That's what I want. We work too much. But I said, I think I want a house. I would really like that. I'm 28, I'm renting. And then 2 days later, while we're filming this video where we are giving houses away for $1 and I'm, directing the film production of it, they surprise me and pull me into the video. And then I end up winning a house. And I'm like, that's exactly what I just told Will. I wanted, I had never considered it. And so from there, I got the winnings from the house. I didn't keep it. And so I had the winnings. I applied that to the training. I was a master practitioner. So I met you for the first time. I met Will. And then it just occurred to me over those 4 days of learning at the feet of masters of the unconscious mind that I had been really underutilizing mine. I thought, how can I'm aware of it now.
Yep.
I'm aware that this whole time there have been background apps and background processes that have been working in my mind, right? Like my phone right now, I don't do anything. And if a text comes in, I didn't do anything to get that. It's working in the background. What I didn't realize that I learned through Upgrade is that I can have a much more involved hand in what processes are running in the background. And if I add clarity to what it is that I want in life, those things start to come to me. And it's like, yeah, okay, manifestation is a very top shelf accessible term, but it's so much deeper than that. Anyways, I'm saying all of that to say I knew that there was something more that I could do with the ability to tell a good story. And I now had like this whole like set of options that had opened up because I was looking at life differently. I came in with this tuned understanding of attention and video. And then I went, holy cow, I felt like half of my mind I wasn't even using. Now what can we do?
Yeah.
And Will saw that and you saw that. And so Will came to me and said, hey, I think we should start a media company together. And I was like, no way. Partner with Yoda? Like, let's do it. Yeah. You know? So then from there, that led to some incredible clients. We've had Rabbi on before.
Yep.
And Rabbi Creer Landry, that episode, people couldn't get enough of. And we
Love you, Rabbi.
love you, Rabbi. And we did that in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
In one of the craziest hotels that were like Trump and Putin and everybody else has stayed. And we're just there in the side lobby doing this interview with Rabbi, you know?
King David, let's go.
Gosh. And so all of these doors started opening up once we started the media agency. Why? Because we understood that other people want to tell good stories too. And they're really good at the stuff that they do. And so they can be fantastic at that while still needing to understand, hey, how do I make my video story better? I'm great at all of these things. I provide all of this market value, but you know, that delivery mechanism of figure out what I do, put in a video, make the video make sense, and get it to people. That pipeline, a lot of people really get, you know, choked up on because the process of taking all of a client's magnificent work or all the cool products that they have or the amazing things that they can bring, and then changing that and encapsulating it into a video. People actually think now it's a pretty easy thing to do. And to a degree that's true because cameras got cheaper and they got smarter and technology got better. But the process of still distilling a story into a way that makes sense has become a little bit of like a, I don't know, not a gatekeeper, like an art form that's kind of gatekept. But if you really don't understand the nuances, it's going to be years to really get to that point where you go, okay, we've made now 200 videos and we're starting to understand how we could have told these stories better. We're starting to understand why our videos didn't convert. And so when we understood that we already knew that, we're like, okay, well, let's bring this to people. So Biggest started in that way. It was unlocked because of Upgrade, and then Upgrade and our partnership with me and Will, and now you're involved and now Calvin's involved. We're opening a studio. We're opening a studio in Scottsdale.
Yep.
It's going to be freaking amazing. And so we just want to invite people. And we have a bit of a vigorous screening process, but we know that the right people with the right products, and we already have a pretty incredible list of clients that we're working with and clients that want to work with us. But we have these people that want to make their stories better. And they are the people that also know, hey, I can't be an expert at everything. You know, I can't be somebody that knows how to go out there and cut somebody open and put them back together. And then also I can be a master at connecting all these cameras, all these microphones, getting that all dialed in, and then now tell my story well. You could be, but you're probably not good at both. You could be, but also that other one takes time. The tuning of understanding attention, and people are so, their attention is so whittled down right now. Like it's so whittled down, dude. Like I get so much joy from just spending a couple hours away from my phone because societally we have completely integrated with the online world. Like most of us now, we have completely integrated. And so most of our day is spent connected to either our laptop, our PC, or our phone. And 10 years ago, that sounded crazy. Like, oh yeah, I spent 3 hours on my phone today.
We get the notification that says you spent 9 hours average on your phone last week. It's like, God, man.
Are you serious? It didn't feel like that.
9 hours every day. What?
My phone's calling me out like that, man. Nobody told me that. But actually, it kind of was like, yeah, well, I had to do a ton of stuff. And it was most effectively done through my phone. So yeah, I did have to spend 9 hours a day. And so our attention spans as a result of that have been whittled down fractions of a second by fractions of a second. And so now there's more interesting tactical things that you can do to get somebody's attention for another second longer. And there's now a whole world of people trying to take stabs at that. Like, how do we get people's attention right in that first second? What do we do? So when, you know, I was at the channel, that was what we focused on first before anything else. And Jimmy will talk about this in any podcast. The first thing you have to understand is that moment when a viewer lands on your video, what's happening? Does it make sense right away? Is it interesting enough to keep watching? Because you know what? There are a lot of other videos that are competing with people's attention. And so if you can tell the best story and you really get a sense of what that even means, you will be ahead of like 95% of other people that are trying to tell stories too, making videos. There are so many, we've seen them. There are a lot of videos out there that are not good. And that video, well, I watched that, got to the end of it somehow. That was not a good video. Why? Because it didn't think about my experience, obviously. And so if you're not thinking about that from end to end, and you know 1,000 subtle nuances and colors and lighting and all this other stuff, some practical and a lot more soft skills all together and how it comes together. If you don't already know that, the good news is that we are taking a couple extra clients.
Yeah, we are available. I mean, what I believe is going to be so powerful between the combination of you and William is that William understands the human psychology of the language. So he understands about, and you do too now that you've been through the trainings, deletion, distortion, generalization of the filters, and how that is the data. The filters is going through that. I want to talk about that call real quickly, because I think let's pull back the curtain. Let's help out the viewers and listeners just a little bit. I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit on something. That call that you and William had, right? So William, obviously, he's a master at what he does. He's asking questions. He wants to know, what do you desire? And that is such a key point in telling a story. What does someone desire, right? So he figures out what you desire. And then here's the masterful skill, the power of suggestion. The power of suggestion is where you get really masterful in storytelling, when it slips past the conscious barriers, those filters, and it gets to the unconscious mind. So William knew persuasion, influence, communication at the conscious and unconscious level. He knew what your desire was, and then he slipped in a little power of suggestion. Now, can we prove that 2 days later that happened like that? I mean, you won the house. I'm not going to say it's because of William. I'm just going to say that you had a conversation and now you're here with us working together. Yeah. The power of suggestion in everyday life, we see it done negatively, right? Sometimes in media, there's companies out there who are using unecological suggestions, I'll just leave it at that, and they're benefiting billions and billions of dollars, right?
Oh yeah.
So there's stories going around us at all time. So if you're a user, you begin to really look and analyze, scan your environment for the stories that are going on. And this is why Upgrade exists, because we want, again, to help out the ancestral negative programming stories that are holding us back from our potential, and why Biggest is here now. Because media is the way to tell stories powerfully. And if William and Brady can help people move forward and be the, as you said, the person who's already done it, right? Because someone could take all the time in the world to try to study this and do it.
100%.
They could do that. Just like with mental programming. Someone could take all the time. They could take the 30,000 hours that William has studied and
years of NLP training, all of the documents, yeah. It is totally doable.
Or you could come to a company that does it for you, right? And we can show you the step-by-steps, give you the do with. So now that let's talk about the power of suggestion a little bit, because I think this is something that you do very well, and that Biggest is going to do super well. How do you see that playing with your clients and helping new people, like getting through the barriers that we sometimes have?
Yeah, I mean, with Upgrade's experiential data getting packaged in the way it was, and then you and Will having such incredible finesse with sharing that in a way that makes sense, it started clicking with me that, like, a lot of times people talk and they think they're being understood, but the reality is so I know American Sign Language, and I had to read a lot of books to master this. I lived with deaf people. I interpreted for a long time. I got confused as a deaf person constantly, which is like the biggest compliment if you're learning another language. Yeah. In these books, they basically have to boil down and get you to the same point when it comes to communication so that they can then build on concepts. So the first concept they start with is, what the heck is communication? And so as person A, I'm person A, and you over there are person B. Now I have a set of information, and we use shared symbols to identify, oh, he's talking about this, right? So we have these shared symbols best understood in our languages. So the shared symbol that you and I have is this table right here. Well, there are so many freaking tables, but we have a general symbol for, okay, table, right? So I'm person A, and my message is, it's about the table, and do you mind moving that table? So I'm using a bunch of different words and symbols, and I'm anchoring that. Now, when I package that and I send you the message, you're going to receive that message, and you're going to interpret it with your versions of symbols. Now, because we use the same language, there's a really high probability that my words made sense to you. Michael moved the table. If I'm trying to do something a little bit more complex, like I have a vitamin that's going to change your entire life, you're like, okay, get in line. Get in freaking line, dude.
Yeah,
like,
we haven't heard that before, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. I've got a miracle. I've got this. I got that. Whatever the heck it is. And so you have to then deconstruct language and messaging and say, well, why did this one pill is going to change your life? Like, why did that work for a while? And now why does it fall flat? I will talk with people. I'll do consultations, and often before we work with them, I want to get an understanding of like, do you understand how your videos are being received to a complete stranger? A lot of times people are so busy doing all their great things, running their companies, that when that message mechanism, when you kind of double click on it, put it under a magnifying glass and go, okay, well, how is that message being received? Typically it's convoluted, or it takes too long to get to the point, and it's not thoroughly thought through. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, you know, using that as an understanding, like a basis of saying, okay, a lot of people would like to make sense. And you're either going to do that effectively, which means you're a good communicator, a good storyteller, you have an amazing marketing ability, or you're still going to have, you know, relative success, but your communication could be improved. William talks about this actually quite a bit. He used to reference stories and anecdotes that would happen at home with him and his wife. And she would say, can you take out the trash? And he would say, yeah, I will take out the trash. In her mind, that could mean, great, he's going to stop what he's doing and take out the trash right now, or he's not doing anything, therefore he could go and take out the trash right now.
Yeah.
In his mind, the message being received is, she would like me to take out the trash. I'll do that when I'm ready to do that.
Exactly.
Which is totally fair, you know. But also, if there was a time frame said, hey, I would like the trash taken out by this time, reason being, we've got company coming over and there's a fish fillet in the trash, I want it out.
Yeah.
Now look at all the extra detail that's done in a way that could prompt an action, really get a result, right? If you don't do that, then it's like, yeah, I'll do that like when I do that.
Exactly.
You know? So that's human interpersonal communication. How the heck do you capture that in a video? How the heck do you get a product to have get that kind of level of understanding and communication sent over in like a very short amount of time? That's what we specialize in. That's what we do, and that's how we help. So the impact of seeing that already like roll out with our clients, it's been awesome. I mean, it's the reason we were like, okay, well, how do we deal with all this inbound? Let's get a studio pulled together, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, the power of suggestion works both ways, right? To your point where the video, look, this video doesn't make sense. It's slow. It's not getting to the point, right? There's a suggestion there that this person is not an expert. And maybe they are an expert in what they do. Maybe they are very talented at coming up with some kind of pill that's going to really truly save mankind, right? Or they are a very good trainer of some kind, or they're a professional in some way, but they just don't know how to tell a story.
Right.
And so now it comes off as, man, I just don't trust this person because I'm watching their video and their video sucks, or I just don't get a good feeling, or they're not articulating right. And that is a skill set. So I believe that at this point, you are starting to enter the zone of alchemy, where you're creating this magic because you're got this chemist of everything that you learned over the years with Mr. Beast and other people that you work to in the YouTube personality as well. And now with the training you've learned from Upgrade, you're in this alchemy, and Biggest is there to provide that for people. So all the people out there who are starting to work with you, and then new people who are going to be interested, they're going to be like, all right, I know I'm an expert at something, but how do I capture that attention? And how do I really put it out there so I can let people know I'm the expert and I can serve people? You got to do it through media.
If I'm a linoleum tile salesman and I'm like, yo, they just came out with the craziest linoleum formulation, it's going to change the game. I don't know. That's less exciting than like a Lakers game. I don't care about linoleum tile. But so let's say the linoleum tile salesman is like, well, let me tell you, we in the lab, we formulated it with this molecule. We mix it in with this sediment. So when furniture scrapes across it, and they're giving you this like really beige, bland, like that's not the point, man. I don't care about the linoleum tile. But if you were to wrap me up in like this story about how I feel the moment that I bring in all my family, who I've been so excited to show them what we did with the home. And the first thing they notice is, oh, the floor is incredible. It's gorgeous. Now we're out rallying around dinner. Someone gets up, the chair scraped. Oh, I'm so sorry about your new floor. No, it's good. Brand new stuff. It's magical. Like it's tough. Now you got a story. I don't want to hear about features and bullets. I don't want to hear about any of that crap. It doesn't interest me. Yeah, unless I'm in the linoleum tile game, whatever. I do want to have a feeling that I get as a result of connecting to that product.
Yep.
And that person, they're like wizard chemists. They know everything about linoleum tile, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be good about making that message make sense, because it isn't that the message didn't make sense. I can read, I can understand your bullets, but it didn't make sense for me. Why I would care about it. So if you can learn how to make things make sense for people, then they care about it. And so that's really, it's just the most remarkable thing. Reality is not as solid as we seem.
Definitely not.
As it seems, rather. And, the whole Niels Bohr, who was a physicist, he started with quantum entanglement, talking about that. Eventually, that study led to a lot of other studies, a lot of other theoretical physicists, culminated in this understanding that reality is just not as solid as it seems. And so that's proven in the Nobel Prize that was just awarded last October, where they were able to physically prove, just because I've got this little globe here on the table and I turn my back and I look away, my belief now is that the globe is still there. And it is, because I have people here observing it. But
I should have moved it.
you should have.
Perfect timing.
If I put a red apple on the table and I walk away, I don't look at it anymore, that red apple should of course still be there. But the Nobel Prize, the guy that won it, I can't remember his name, but the guy that won it was able to physically prove that that's not the case. If you put the red apple on the table and you turn your back to it, it is not obvious that that's still there, because it's not being observed. And so when people say, oh, like I've tried it all before, I've tried getting my product to market, or I've tried making this thing work with this person, or I've tried moving my business, or I've used internet marketing and I couldn't figure it out. And so then they write this thing, oh, well, I'll just go back to the basics. I'll put ads in the newspaper. I'll do a thing. Reality is not solid. Yeah. And if you've tried something and you write a verdict about it, oh, okay, I can't do that now. Change it, because there are things shifting in the background all the time. Reality is so wild and expansive, and anything could work. And I guess realizing that there's just this complex mosaic of kind of infinite opportunities, infinite potential, infinite outcomes, it would make sense that learning how to tell a good story, as an example, that could change the world if you wanted it to. Learning how to bring a product to market in an effective, compelling way of packaging the messaging, that could change the world. Reality is not that solid. You could do anything you want.
Steve Jobs.
Steve freaking Jobs. Yeah. What was that quote?
Steve Jobs said something about like the person who knows how to tell the story the best can change the world. I mean, I'm summarizing.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's so true. And I think that's why this combination of what we teach and upgrade, and now is more specifically our training of Sales God, it's not about sales. Like the Nordic Latin version of sales is to serve. So we want people to understand how to serve themselves at the conscious and unconscious level. We want to do it through persuasion, influence, and communication. And those are done through stories, right? And what you're teaching people now with Biggest, because you are going to teach them, hey, this is how we're going to tell your story so the world can feel like they want to work with you, right? Yeah. We're breaking limiting beliefs. We're breaking boundaries. So as you were talking about earlier, like, oh, I tried this. They're collecting all the data of what didn't work, but they don't know what they don't know. Right. Therefore, they're forming their reality as this former, like this is my reality. Well, the edge of your belief, the boundary of your belief is the boundary of your reality. So when we can break through that, and we do that here at Upgrade, and that's what Biggest is do, we're going to serve a lot of people together.
Yeah. I'm excited. And there are so many incredible things ahead. When we moved here to Scottsdale a year ago, you, me, Emily, a lot of people, when we all moved here, we knew that there was something that we were doing, and we weren't entirely clear on how it would all look and shape out, but we knew that it was going to impact humanity, because that's the goal, is to upgrade humanity. Yep. And we do that in a ton of different mediums. Right now in 2023, video is king. Oh yeah. And YouTube is like the king platform of video. So yeah, man, it's a cool spot to be in. I love telling these stories, and we love helping people tell stories. And I feel like that's, as a species, that's what we, like you said, we gather around the campfire and we tell this thing about the time I fought a cheetah with a spear and all this stuff, and everyone gets hyped. And what is that? It's information told in maybe its most pure way. Like, I gave you information in like a really fulfilling, clear way, and you came away with like it was like, oh yeah, one time there was a cat and it attacked me, and then but I'm still here.
My mom saw it.
Y'all should have been there.
My mom left.
But you can tell the same story if you're a good storyteller.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's our goal here. That's what we're doing.
I mean, Campfire 2023 and beyond is the cell phone for right now, and then virtual reality probably in the future, and who knows what AI is going to jump into. But that's our Campfire now, right? And that's how we can connect at the global level. So it's amazing to be working with you as always. Everyone, you can begin to break your own boundaries, beliefs, and reality, of course, at theupgrade.com. Jump into the focus training to see if you haven't started with us yet. Great place to start. Brady, where they find more information about Biggest?
It's at Biggest Agency on Instagram. Mine's Brady Deluxe, and yeah, upgrade.com. It's all going to be linked together online. So we're in the final phases of that actually right now. So
Love it, man.
exciting stuff.
As always, thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Likes, share, subscribe, all the good stuff.
Join the journey. Life is good, and it gets better every day.
See ya.